We're watching wrestling this morning. There goes Doug Halderman. He's going to help us put our squaffit up. There's the hard-working boys fixing the Suburban.
There's the stupid guy who is so stupid. He looks so stupid.
That winter was so cold. Doctor would let me travel to come home, come to Utah, so I was pregnant with him. So we stayed through the winter. And it was so cold I'd have to wait until after everybody had gone to bed, turned their gas off to get enough gas to get warm enough. Let's throw that little gas furnace. Only about so wide and about so high. I'd throw that gas furnace to give you a bath.
Where was this at?
East of the time by Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, when I was born.
He was born. I changed his diaper, laid him on the bed, changed his diaper, and while I was getting the one diaper off, get it on, he pee in Jay's face. It down. Mama, he peed on me.
Well, what was Jay doing so being so close?
Standing up close, watching what I was doing. Mama, he peed on me again. That was the same story. Mama, he peed on me. I said, we just have to stand back then. Well, I want to see. I said, all right, so I could peed on then. So, he was 7 months old, but he was blessed. Could come home in June, and my father blessed him in 1st of July. Lynn wouldn't do it.
Why wouldn't Lynn do it? Do you remember? Did he have a reason?
Lynn, he was scared. He was just plain outright scared to get up front and do that. He wouldn't do it.
So Grandpa Reese?
My father did it. Oh, God,
Should I keep it back far enough so I can see both of you?
That's an awful big baby to be blessed. They would let me. They told me to leave told Lynn and that, but told us to leave our recommends church records here in Utah where they was at. Not have transferred back there. Because all they had was a little Birks back there, Kansas City.
Uh-huh.
So we didn't. So that's why you had to wait till I come home. And that's why they blessed you.
Which ward was I blessed in? Which building?
North Logan.
Oh, the North Logan. Okay.
Wasn't in the church, it was in the gym. The school gym.
School? Why was it in the school gym and not in the church?
Because we didn't have a church.
Did you meet your church meetings in the school?
So
Back in those days, they met right in the school, she says. That was different.
Yep, it was.
we had,
Hi, Stephen.
then after, when they got the gym built, then they used the gym for our sacrament meetings and that.
We used to have our 45.
And the classrooms downstairs.
Hey, you can be in the picture, but don't be funny right now.
He's not in the picture.
And,
Man.
oh, that's a long time ago, hasn't it?
Only grandma.
Well, I figured this year I'm 50 years old, so that had to be almost 50 years ago.
49 then.
You're gonna see us.
You'll be 50 on the 3rd of November.
How old are you this year?
74.
74?
23 years older than you are.
23 years young when I was born then.
Have a birthday in September and you was born in November.
Okay. What else can you remember?
No.
I know when you come by 7 o'clock at night, you had to go to bed. And the deal was, I didn't put you to bed for you, just miserable. You made everybody else miserable. You and Jay have always been that way.
My son here, Stephen, he likes to go to bed early too. He gets late. Sometimes it gets late at night and we'll be up visiting or something and he'll say, hey, I'm too tired to stay up, and he'll just go off to bed on his own. The other children a lot of them, if we're up visiting, they have to stay up until the last person goes to bed. They won't go to bed.
I'm always the last one to bed. I have to be the last one to bed. I was the last one to bed a couple nights in a row because I've been reading.
Been that way all your life. You've had to have more rest to live than what the rest of the family had. Tom and
Yeah,
Dale's
you-
been my night owls.
Tom and Dale.
Tom and Dale. Jay and Roddy's been my little bed kids. Early to bed, early to rise. Well, it wasn't so much early to rise, so you. Some of the others went early to bed though.
What, we lived there by Aunt Edna for a while. You lived in Tremont for a little while before you moved.
Yeah.
Garland.
Steph, will you go get that chair, that big chair?
When
For
we
me?
came home from Kansas City, we lived in Mrs. Boram's place, and that was just up to the field for mothers.
Stay in this spot.
And she had what? A bedroom, bathroom, a kitchen.
Oh, the big one,
Living room was the same.
so I can put my shoulder on.
Oh, okay, I'll go get it.
It's good. No, the big one.
Then we moved in, then got him a job over there with Jim Woods over in Garland. We moved over to Garland.
Move over and sit on this chair, son. You can turn it off while you move around.
Roddy got older and I could feed him cereal and fruits and vegetables and that way. I'd fix Rod's lunch, fix his supper, and let us sit there and feed him while I preached the rest of the supper for the rest of us. When he died, when his dad died, he wouldn't let me feed him because his dad always fed him. His dad wouldn't let me feed him. And he was born with pneumonia. Him and Sue both were. The doctors, we took him to the doctor back to Kansas City, and they didn't bother to put him in the hospital. They knew he was so sick he'd be dead by morning. So they didn't bother to run up that kind of a bill for us. So, sent him home and gave us some medicine and that, and stayed up all night and played. That was when I went to play pinochle that night. So up all night, every hour. So I rubbed him and took care of him and gave him his medicine and that. So kept him alive. Our sheer willpower kept that kid alive that night. Thought to be doing good. Well, I put him back a couple of days later and he wasn't dead. The doctor expected I'd come in and have him sign the death certificate. I don't remember the doctor had you to.
Slap 5. You don't know our new modern traditions?
She's got her hurt
Ouch.
hand.
That
That's her
hand.
hurt hand,
Hand still too
That's
sore.
the hand. See, I've been hurting her all my life. Now I just slap her hurt hand there. Don't you ever slap 5 up there in Rexburg?
No. Nobody ever wants to slap 5 with me.
Well, I do.
So, anyway. Well, after we moved to Garland, come back there and moved to Garland, they still fed you. But after he died, then I had Kathy, Keith, and Max. They came over to my place for lunch every day after Lynn died. And they had to sit and feed this kid because he wouldn't let me feed him. He wouldn't eat for me. He just really had a fit. But he'd sit there and let the kids, Kathy, Keith, or either Kath or Keith, could feed him and he'd eat for them, but he wouldn't eat for me. He got sick again with another bad cold, pneumonia, whatever. And Edna came up. She'd sit and rock him, hold him and rock him. He wouldn't let me do it. He let Edna do it. So, that was when just a little squirt too.
Tell me, what do you remember about picking out my name, Roddy, R-O-D-D-Y?
Oh boy. You couldn't figure out a name for you. I'd think of a name. I wanted either Eldridge or Howell on it. I wanted to name you, put Howell in it. Your dad says, oh, no, you're not gonna be that to my boy, not one of my kids. Your dad would go home and go to work and come back that night to see me, and he'd think of another name. I didn't like that. They kept me in hospital for a week because I stood up in bed and fed you with a big hang on the side of the bed and took cold. And they kept me in the hospital that week to give me penicillin shots every 4 hours to get me well.
Stephen, go over there. You have to be playing right in the camera view.
And
Too far away to show the deer.
So,
maybe forget what I was just saying.
well, you were saying that you wanted the name Hal or Eldridge in my name, but
I
Lynn
had
didn't.
Eldridge put on the J's.
But Lynn didn't want you to or something, and so he said
Oh,
no.
that was nothing to use Howell as a name. So we've been to see that showed my friend Flicka.
My Friend Flicka, is that old a movie? Wow. My Friend Flicka is over 50 years old.
Jay wouldn't stay in. Jay wouldn't stay in and get watch the movie. So I took you out. No, I took Jay out. I was praying with you and I took Jay out. We played on the steps, up the balcony. And finally, we just exhausted all the things we could think of. Either one of us could agree on what. Finally, I said, that movie the other night, that was a cute kid playing that part at Marty, but I got to see the movie. And so we decided I should let's name Roddy, but then you have to Roddy McDowell, Roddy Howell. And I said, you can't put Howell on it. I'll go for the H, but I won't go for the Howell. So it was Roddy McDowell's name, named after that movie.
And it was H, just initial
So we
H.
just
huh?
made the initial H.
I've had more people ask me what that H stands for. And I says, well, maybe it stands for Hall. I married a Hall girl, you know.
It stands for Howell,
Howell.
because they wouldn't let me put Howell in it. He said, you can't do that to one of my boys, I won't have it. So we didn't do it. So,
You know, I've told a lot of people the story that I was named after a famous actor, Roddy McDowell. And several times they'll make a joke and they'll say to me, oh yeah, you kind of look like him when he starred in Planet of the Apes. I was kind of sad because of that story that you just told. I was kind of sad just maybe a month, maybe not even a month ago this year, Roddy McDowell died. And I read in the paper that Roddy McDowell had no family, he never got married, had no children. He just made, but he made movies clear up until just, I think, a year or two ago. He's made, I don't know how many movies.
I know it wasn't very old for me. They made that movie, My Friend Flicka. Teenager, young teenager.
The newspaper article about Roddy McDowell was saying that the interesting thing is he was one of the few actors that was a star as a child. Then he kind of faded, didn't have many acting parts, but he took schooling. He went to school and he took acting classes, and he came back into the prime and became a famous actor as an adult. A lot of children actors, they were saying, don't go on to become famous adult actors, but he was one of the few ones that made the transactions.
Shirley Temple did. But
Okay, then we moved, my grandpa Reese blessed me, and we were in Tremont. And how old was I? Was I 1 year old when you moved to Nampa? How old was Dale when we moved to Nampa? About a year and a half?
2 months old.
So Dale had just barely been born.
Dale was 2 months old on the 5th of May. We moved into that house, the 4th and 5th of May.
And that house that my mother moved me into, 508 14th Avenue North, we lived at that same house until I met and married Liz.
Lived there for 38 years.
38 years we lived in one house.
About 38 and a half years. 'Cause I lived there from April of, or May of I bought it in April, was in the 1st of May, until, September, May of 1950 to September of 1988.
1988.
So,
Now one of Dell's children live in it?
yeah, Shelley.
Shelley.
They're supposed to buy it. They told me they wanted to buy it from me. I told them I was going to sell it. They wanted to buy it from me. So I had all the papers drawn up. They told me they'd even come to Rexburg to sign the papers. Well, when it comes time to sign the papers, they won't go to Rexburg. And I have to ask to take the papers down to Nampa and have them signed. So I got $175. They sent me $200 in August. She called them and jacked them up, told them about it. But when they told me that day we went over for Amy's wedding, I mentioned it to Tom. And he told, well, within 15 minutes it was all through the family. Everybody knew more about it than I did.
Well, everybody but me, because it never did get to my ears. I never did hear about it.
You up there?
Yeah, I was there, but it got to some people, but it didn't get to me.
Well, you're the only one that didn't hear about it then.
Well, I think others might not have heard about it. I don't think you know who heard about it and who didn't.
Well,
So anyhow,
those
what-
of us who was outside heard about it.
Okay, so what final happened? What's the conclusion of the matter? They're not
They're killing the house and I ain't getting no money.
they're not paying the rent or buying it, huh?
So Sue get telephone or they need to?
She telephoned them and told them that we had the paper drawn up for $200 a month. And Sue said, anybody can pay $200 a month. Well, daggone it, they can't pay $200 a month.
They can't.
I don't think so. He told you. Tom told Shelley. Sue heard him tell her, you gotta have a job by next weekend. She called him in August. But they never sent no money for September, no money for October, no nothing. No word or nothing. I guess I was supposed to send them a receipt. I got $200, but I
But if
didn't.
they buy the house, they won't be able to make the payments.
I think I'll have to put it on the market and sell it out from under 'em.
Well, if they
I
don't,
can bring no dog shit and crap out of the backyard, excuse my language.
Okay, well let's not dwell on the current day problems. I want to kind of get a little history of my life, sketch of my life. Like maybe mention something about junior high or high school. You might remember, or maybe even grade school. Do you remember anything about me going to Bellevue and coming home and eating,
Or
Bellevue.
Bellevue.
You didn't
or
go to Bellevue.
Lakeview? I mean,
Lakeview.
Oh, yeah, they would come home to eat, have lunch, and then they'd sit and laugh at each other. Sit across the table and laugh at each other all through that hour and a half they had.
was that Dell and I?
Yes.
Dad told me this story last night.
Seems like you'd have to.
They sat there and looked at each other and laughed at each other. When the bell would ring, they had 5 minutes to get to school on time, so they'd sit there and laugh for half that time, then they'd run to school. Get there before the second bell rang. We had them watching over across the street. They had to cross 2 streets.
Do you,
When Sue got up there to 5th or 6th grade, they built the, what's the school name? Up there,
Park Edge or Park View or something?
Parkview, yeah, the Parkview School. Up on the corner of 15th and 6th North. And Sue took 5th and 6th grade up there. But your dad, Tom and Jay, Rod and Dale took all up to 6th grade at Lakeview. Then they went down to Central. Now Central's a 6th grade. It's just 6th grade class, that's all. So,
Oh, Central doesn't have 3 classes anymore, 3 grades? Oh, just 1 class.
just one class. They have 7th, 8th, and 9th. Junior high. There's a South Junior High and a West Junior High. And they built a new high school out on the corner of Greenhurst and South Power Line.
What,
Big, pretty new school.
teachers all seemed to like me, didn't they?
Yeah, they seemed to like you. You did all right in math, but boy, when they come to spelling, crawled under the bench, crawled under the seat, and tried to crawl through the floorboards. And then when he got Dale, and Dale was right up there. Yeah, that's how about spelling. That's how spelling. He loved to spell. He could spell good. Boy, January, he had an awful time.
You know, I didn't learn to spell in junior high. I seem to have trouble learning. And I still can't spell. Even today, I have trouble spelling.
You pass that on to me, Dad.
Hey, this should be a lesson you learn while you're young. Don't be like me and be old.
Absolutely. Absolutely, learn while you're young.
Do you remember anything we did during the summer? Do you remember any of our summer activities? Seems like I was on the swim team for a while. Do you remember that? I guess I was older when I was on the swim team.
Yeah, you was on the swim team, and Dale was.
Do you remember anything about me burning my leg as a kid?
Yeah, but you didn't dispute that. Don't so what you
I-
anything about it.
Well, I have a different story than you might remember, but I think my
Don't
story
even
is...
remember me packing in a doctor that he ever
Yeah, I
did.
remember that.
Had to pack him to the bathroom, had to pack him everywhere he went. Had to put his foot down.
Had to pack me up to school even. I think I was real embarrassed about you carrying me, but you wouldn't let me walk that one day. I wanted to try to walk.
I don't think I carried you to school.
Seems like I remember you taking me up to Lakeview one time.
Maybe I did, I don't know. Can't remember.
Do you remember anything about Brenda Morgan? Do you remember that name?
About what?
Brenda Morgan?
Yeah, she was down there too. Rosella's wore chests about you all the time.
Does she?
And I'm around, she asked me, how's Roddy doing? Where's he at?
Well, did you ever?
Married? How many children he got?
Yeah. Did she ever say anything when she found out I had 9?
Yeah, she liked to fell off the chair.
I'd like to go back and see her and say hi to her.
Why was she your old girlfriend?
She's just a girl I knew in high school. I had a crush on her. She's like the first girl I think I ever had a crush on.
I think so.
I remember
Then I
seeing
saw her all
her
through
in
high
the
school.
book that you got.
She never would go with Roddy. Roddy was too far beneath her. Her dignity.
Your high school book.
And same with McKnight and Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Brenda ever went.
Rue McKnight both have told me a dozen times they wished that they hadn't stopped that romance between Tom and Linda. Tom's married and had stayed married. Linda's been married twice or 3 times. Divorced. Well, that's last time she married. Pulled off her garments and don't even go to church. Don't know even hard to know what the inside of the church looks like.
What about Brenda though? She has this good marriage, doesn't she?
I guess she has.
Do you ever remember anything about my childhood teaching me how to work by going out in the fields and either blocking beets, hoeing? Do you remember hoeing onions?
Often, did you?
Huh?
You didn't go out in the field with me very often, did you?
I only went out maybe. It seems like you were the crew leader.
I was.
It seems like one of the main things we did is we used to top corn in the.
Yeah,
Seed
down for corn. People never heard that up at Right Creek. They're pulling this nightshade out of spinach and packing the nightshade out to the side, out to the end of the rows or out to the side.
You remember doing that, pulling that out? I remember.
Oh,
I remember
sure.
taking the nightshade out.
I did. I could stand there from here at that tree over there, Joe, get over there, and that row, he had nightshade there by his foot. He couldn't see it. I'd have to go there and pull it out for him and hand it to him.
Hey, that nightshade's hard stuff to see in spinach. It looks too much like spinach.
I know it. That's why we had the job of doing it.
I always wanted to go to
For a while, you just about come right out of the sockets.
see what it looks
You
like.
try and pull those white steps. I'd take steps like this to get across that spinach rows. I could do it then. I can't no more. But I could do it then.
Do you remember taking us swimming out to the canal,
Oh,
jumping in
was
that
fun.
cold water?
Oh, that was the sunshine, wasn't it? You
We
remember
owned it.
that time that kid and that Hayden grandson was there, and he was telling us, bragging about you guys in the team, oh, about swimming in the ocean, down in Florida and all. Dad was in the service.
When I went on that
And day, all day long. He knew so much more, and he done so much more swimming and that than these kids had. So we fixed it up. Mike says the kids would wear the swimming suits underneath their clothes. And we go to the cliffs.
Oh, yeah, the cliffs.
So then I took her up the cliffs. And old Thela Sanders, she was the first one in. And Reed Young was the next one in. And this kid, they got way back and they run and jump from the top of that. Jumped in. Thela like exploded to death, got on the other side, didn't want to come back across because that water was so cold. And that kid, after Thela and Reed had jumped, other kids had got in. Seeing that way, he took a run and jumped. He went down, he come up the loose, but his face broke water. First thing he said was, "Let's go." Oh, we laughed. I said, I thought I had to go punish the man. I said, right, oh, it was funny. But that kid never did any more bragging. That fixed him. He never did brag after that about what swimming he'd done.
My dad swims in like freezing cold water when he goes up to scout camp and stuff with the boys.
That's where I learned. I learned it. See, my mother took me swimming out in the canal. And that cliff, I swear it was 14 feet, maybe 15 feet high.
Yeah.
And we would run, and the way the cliff was set up, the water down here, from up here where you jumped, you could not see the water. You'd have someone standing down here that would tell you.
And there's a place about this much or more. And then there's another old ridge along that they sat down on there and jumped. So they wasn't up on top. But when they run and jump, they had to leap far enough over. They missed this little ledge.
And someone had to tell us if there was no one in the water, because you couldn't see the water, you might jump on top of somebody. And so we would run up here and jump, and it was actually scary to do it from up here.
Yeah, of course.
Because you would run, you not see anything, and suddenly you jump out and down into the water. And ice,
It was so funny.
the water was so cold that when you got out, the current would carry you down, and the cliff here, and you'd get out on the far bank. Then you'd have to walk up, and the current was real fast there, and you'd have to swim, get in, and the current would carry you down. You'd swim, and you'd get out here, and then climb back up the rocks. Well, sometimes you'd get out, and you get on the far side, and you wouldn't want to get in to even go back across because the water was so cold. Oh, funny.
Man, that was nasty. That was cold. But oh, that fixed that kid. There was no more bragging from him after that. He just made us all so sick and tired of listening to him brag. We really fixed him. It was almost true. I think that field man had us back through some of those fields 2 or 3 times because he showed his authority. That's all it was. We did though. We went there many times to be sad. Just like I told him up there, that cannery. He said, I don't think you need to be here that long, Mr. Birks. I don't want to wear you out now, Sister Birks. You're a good worker. I know that. He said, I just get sad to have you here that long. I go in at 6 o'clock in the morning and stay until 4 o'clock in the afternoon till they said it was done. That was enough cans. Then I took off and went home. I just stayed clean up. And that was just good. Charlie says I could do that, I'd do that.
Oh, well. Go ahead, take it.
Hey, why don't you turn the camcorder off for a second? Or you want to get a picture back? Well, you got the cord here down here by the video. Let's get it back here.
Turn it off and get it.
Well, he was born in 48.
48,
Let me sit there.
then 67.
Sit there.
So I graduated in the spring, in May or June, and he went on
Wait,
mission
move it.
before we do something.
Oh, crap.
That's what he left out. He went into mission home the day after Thanksgiving. Or was it? Maybe
I wanna
it might
start all
have been Monday or Tuesday after Thanksgiving. He got his mission call on his birthday. couldn't wait till he went, till he had the weekend, he'd go to Mountain Home where he was working out there for Scottsburg. And so Dell had to open the letter. I knew that. So we knew where he was going on his mission. But Dell graduated in 66. And Dell waited until 69 and he went on his mission. He stayed home, worked that winter to get himself started for his mission. And then, and Dell was over, Jay was overseas for the Air Force. And Jay wrote home and said, I'll keep Roddy out. You send Dale. I've already signed the paper to stay for another 6 months. We knew there wasn't anything we could do about it. He'd already done. I couldn't stop it. And then he was sorry after that he had taken that extra 6 months. And all his buddies, like he went over there with, went home. And he wanted to come home too. But he sent Roddy's money. Kept Rod out, we sent Dell out.
So it was Rod that stayed 6 more months, or Dell?
Jay
Jay.
stayed 6 more months overseas.
Oh, I see.
He went down in February, down to California, took Father Howard and Sue and took Father with us. Went down there and went down to Travis Air Force Base that was sucked in with fog. And you had to land them at Oakland and bus them back up there. Back up to Travis. What else can I tell you about high school?
Tape it around it. Put some tape on the pencil.
Oh, they did some broad jumps, high jumps,
Walk in front of him.
short dashes. While Rod went on around the track. and come in.
Let Dad have his chair back.
Let me have my chair back.
I can't remember all of them.
You know,
Leave it alone, Keith.
Oh, no.
I'm just sitting here.
That's all right, you left it.
Steven,
Right now.
Steven
I
can
know.
move, because
Put on that other thing.
I want Keith in charge of the camcorder. Steven can move.
I don't remember.
What were you telling about tennis or something?
Yeah, you gotta start all over because I missed it. It's
That's
rewinding.
too bad. I forgot.
How about the track thing you got?
I remember we had that track meet for Rod. I don't know how far he ran. I don't remember how.
It was a 2-mile run. I was running 2 miles, and I had never ran before. So I took off with the fastest runners right at the start, like the first lap and a half. And then they all passed me by, and pretty soon I was being lapped by the fastest runner. I
He
still
had
had a
to do
lap.
a lap and a half or 2 laps after everybody else got done because you wouldn't quit.
I ran the whole thing. I didn't quit.
I remember that too.
You walked the whole thing, you mean?
I remember that a certain teacher, when I was in Lakeview, I was a 6th grader, I believe, or 5th grader. What was the last grade there? 5th? 6th. And I was just joking around with him and was saying how I could tell the future. And so after recess, he told the class, he says, we have a special feature. We have someone here that can tell the future. And he introduced me, and he made up some name, like Swami something or something. I can't remember what it was, but I would come up to the front, and these kids in the class would ask me these questions. And they'd ask me things like, there's a math test this afternoon, how am I going to do on it? And I just would make up dumb stuff. Like the smartest kids, I'd say, oh, you're not going to do very good, you're going to get a C. The class would just roar. So then they'd say, who am I going to grow up and marry? And I'd pick someone they didn't like, and say that in the class. And I'd answer like 10 or 12 questions. And this went on after recess in the afternoon for 1 day a week for maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks before you stopped doing it. But I was a jokester even, and the teachers seemed to really like me. I was just like Becca, how the teachers seemed to really like Becca in their class, and I was sort of that way. They liked having me in the class.
Well, he because I didn't know anything about that. I forgot it anyhow, forget.
When anybody new would move in the neighborhood, it seems like Tom had to always fight him, so he was the.
Tom always had to fight, he had to be the big shot in the neighborhood.
Just
Still
like
have to run.
Nathan.
They did that till after I come home from mission. They had a wrestle, he got the wrestler in my kitchen.
Huh?
Tom laid that, Rod got Tom down on the floor and would lay him up. Till Tom started getting mad. When he started getting mad, then I made him quit. I didn't care, I laughed with him and that, until Tom started getting mad because he couldn't get up.
Do you ever remember anything about the back of my head being bumped? It seems like that I was wrestling with Larry Bloom.
Oh, that happened over school, somebody tripped. And you,
But it seems like it got bumped twice within like a 2-week period, and I had a big swollen thing here. In fact,
I know,
if you feel right there, I sort of have a little area that's flatter.
yeah, well, did that first off in Lakeview School, on the cement steps. Some kid tripped, she going up or coming down. You fell and banged your head.
And your brain's so small that it just sagged.
But anyhow, that, I know that first time you had a big old knot, stuck out like that on the back of his head. So,
Ben's brain is so
but I couldn't
small.
afford to take his dogs, I didn't think, there wasn't anything much I could do for it anyhow. But
Yes.
before that before they started school, this kid had nothing else to do. We all of us had vertical pneumonia. I take him downtown to Dr. Hastings every day, she gives him a shot.
Your brain is smaller than
He gives us a treatment. Oh, I can tell you what kind of treatment, now I can't tell you.
He's small.
And they give us a
He's
paracetamol
small.
shot. Now
But
that's
he's
right,
smart
they're telling
than
the
you,
story,
Ben.
aren't they?
That's the only thing.
Where's your sense of humor?
He's smarter than you.
I remember that, and that's when you got
And his
the
dreams.
sports-hated needles.
And you're
As long as Steve and Howard are coming, but come back to the needle. That's
I'm
what
trying
they
to
say.
get over that, but I had a chance yesterday to get a free flu shot, and I didn't get it.
Scare the needle.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm not getting one. Not at all, for your other one.
No?
I had that flu shot and that pneumonia shot back in the 70s.
Hey!
It took me a long time to get over that.
No.
Because after that, my voice started going real bad.
Mm.
Steadily getting worse.
They give you a bump on your head like that.
These days, I'm not gonna have any
No.
voice whatsoever.
No.
I know it too.
I remember you used to work a lot at night. You'd go to work 12 at night. Simplots.
10:30 in the winter time, 11 o'clock otherwise you get home by 8:30, quarter to 9 in the morning. Yeah, I did.
You pump up the ball.
You didn't take it.
I mean, you kids, well, you kids take turns, get up and not get me up. Then you make the coffee, fill the coffee jug. Oh boy, sometimes that was something with colored water, and other times it was destroying. Knock your head off.
I never did that. That must have been Tom and Jay doing that. This is not a very convenient recording studio because the kids keep walking in front of the
I
camera.
know it,
Still getting a few memories.
but I remember I was a room mother for you kids when he's up there at Lakeview School. Took treats up all the time, made them and took treats to you,
That is two in the picture.
everything for everybody.
That's two.
Different holidays and such that they wanted. She could think of something she wanted it to be. I did that for all 4 you kids, all 5 of you and Sue, when she was up there.
Okay, well,
I can't
Should-
think jumps right off.
If you think of anything else, we can turn it back on. Why don't we just go ahead and turn the camcorder off now?
Yes, sir.
Turned off. And I
Grandma.
have to bring you back.
You want me to drive you over?
And I have to bring you back.
Think you're all big shot.
Mom? Grandma, I mean?
Oh, man.
Bye.
What?
Bye.
Alright, bye.
Bye till tomorrow or whenever you come back.
I'll probably be over tomorrow after Mom gets through working.
Look at that. Her son outgrew her. Look, I'm taller than Grandma.
Oh, these kids went to junior high. They signed up for football. And your dad was only about right here on me. He started junior high.
And I'm almost taller than Dad.
About like Steven is.
Uh-huh.
Your dad was about like Steven is now. He started junior high. He went out for football. They took him out there and those kids attacked him because he was a little bitty squirt. They finally bounced him loose and he started growing. Before he got out of junior high, he was taller than his mother.
But I had my full growth.
I'm like the big kid bouncing the little kid around like that.
Yeah, right. You can't even bounce me around.
Okay.
I got my full growth in about junior
I can
high though,
bounce
because
you
when I went to
around.
high school, I don't think I grew
Bounce
anymore.
both of
You couldn't even,
Come after
Not
me,
much.
man.
I was about 5'7" when I
you
went.
couldn't
to
even
junior
hurt
high.
me,
I'm only-
Steven.
The tallest I've ever been is 5'8".
Good
5'9".
too.
I'm gonna say.
Look at this.
What?
13
No, Dale got five.
Huh?
Dale
Don't
got
mess
five.
with me, Ben. Steven.
Still taller than your dad.
8th grader.
You think you're the big shot, but
You think you're a loser shot, huh?
Well, I have.
Don't mess with me.
You'll
You'll be wishing you wouldn't mess with me.
Keith, don't be jumping back and forth.
Turn
Makes
it
it
off.
hard to watch.
Goodbye.
Watch us, Jared.
Just got home from his mission last night.
Jaron served with Elder Klein.
Yes, I heard.
That was his companion, so
I picked him up at the airport that one day.
They
Bought
went-
lunch.
they
Came
went-
home. He was telling me about that.
yeah, he was quite surprised to see you.
Yeah, that was cool. I think we're gonna find him, man. Like the last minute, we got to call Salt Lake and get all the information.
And
Everything.
Keith,
Got out there.
Keith,
Pretty cool.
Keith, do you still have those lawn mowing
You
jobs?
have 2 mission presents or only one?
I had two.
How
Present
long does it
posing,
take you to
present
earn
wine.
$30, Keith?
Which one did you like the best?
I only have 10 because the lawn's growing.
I wouldn't put one above the
Slow.
other.
You liked them both, he says.
I know, but how could I make $30 fast? And you let me do it
Nope.
so I can get the new Kobe's.
Tell them what Jared
I'm
said.
doing my own job.
Taking
I'm training for something. Barry Sanders jersey.
Oh, Jaron was telling us last night. I guess if are you recording? I'll sit over here so I can tell the story in the camera.
Steve, get out of the seat. Get out.
Jaron was telling us last night about his 2 missionary presidents. He said the first president,
Look at that big chair.
he'd have like his own meeting and he'd have they'd bring him lunch for all the people that go to the meeting. And a lot of times it was just hot dogs, something real prepared real simple. Then he got a new mission president, and then this mission president, he'd bring like a big spread, it'd be like a casserole, all these American foods that they didn't ever hardly get.
He'd get permission to go across the border or something.
So the someone working in the mission home says, this food's costing too much. We're going to go over budget on food, and we think we should do something a little simpler for the lunches, for these conferences and stuff you're having. The mission president just put his arm on him and says, Elder, he says, I just don't think my wife would go for hot dogs. Jared said it was really fun though to go to those meetings once he came because they, have all this good food that they hadn't had for a long time. How about you? Tell us about some of your meals.
A lot of them was really good, like brisket and bluebell. Bryce ever tell you about
Are
bluebell?
there a lot of African Americans
Pretty
down
good.
there?
Yeah, there's quite a few. One area called Polly, downtown Fort Worth. I got scared a couple of times down there. You have to take missionaries on exchange up to visit meteor referrals, and one time there was a black guy got killed at this corner. Like, we were like the only white guys we see all day when we go in there. And the black guy got killed in the corner, and there are all these guys out in the little Muslim hats and everything, these black brothers, and they're just screaming, "No justice, no peace." And I was watching them. This one guy picked us out and was waiting there at the stop sign and just started staring at us. He's like, "Elder, lock your door." And he didn't ever do anything, but I got a little nervous. And a couple times walking through some apartment complexes, and you're surrounded by these brothers, like gangbangers. Like, not wannabes, these guys are gangbangers, and you walk through, they don't do anything to you, but you get a little nervous.
I'm used to being around a lot of polys though.
A lot of what?
Polys.
Polys?
When I go with Phil to like Big John, it's all polys. West side, dude, it's all polys.
There's quite a few polys up there. They have some Polynesian wards, a couple of them in Fort Worth. Everybody wanted to be in the Polynesian ward because the Polynesians are so giving, and they'd stop you on the road and give you like 20s and 50s. And usually the whoever's in the Polynesian ward has a stack of bills on their counter, you know. You can't not accept it because you'll offend them. So they just take it and then they buy new suits or new shoes or whatever they want. They have to spend it though because they can't claim it on taxes otherwise. They just present police can spend it. Do something with it. Never got to serve there though.
There's a lot of black members down there. Do you see very many?
Did they
Baptized
tell,
one guy, a black guy, and
did you hear about the guy getting stabbed in Russia?
yeah, I heard that. Let's see. In the Poly area, there's just a couple, and that's really the worst. That's really the worst black area I was in. From the Poly. I think sometimes it was scary in some of the white areas than it was in some of the black areas. Because the white trash they're crazy. Especially when they're drunk and you're there and they're drunk and having a party or something. It's kind of abusive. And you're walking through there, you're going through there. I mean, that's crazy. They're just crazy.
That's something you have to really be careful of even today. I mean, anywhere you go now, it's getting more prevalent.
You felt pretty safe as a missionary, but you knew you had to get out of there. You knew to be heading the other direction. But one thing I did notice is that in the poor areas of people, if you go to the poor Asians in their houses, it would be just spotless. There wouldn't be a nick of dirt anywhere in
You
their
take
house.
that back to home.
Yeah.
To the poor people.
Mom, will you go
the
get
poor,
that
poor
big
dirt,
C?
man.
I want to
No
use
money in
it.
their name, but yet their house would be spotless.
No,
It would look organized, it would look presentable. And then you go to the Spanish homes, and they'd be poor and really nice. Not too bad, a little bad. It smells kind of funny when you go in there. Not too bad though. It's all right. And then when you go to the American homes, you don't want to breathe. And then you go to the American homes, it's just disgusting.
Really?
It's just they're so filthy. It's just because society has made us into a lazy people who don't do anything. So
That's too
There are a
bad.
lot of rich homes down there though.
oh yeah, man. What's his bucket? The quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys,
Like,
Troy Aikman.
did you
President
visit him?
President Bush's
Truck ride with your uncle? I mean, dad.
Not recorded.
Did you go through Amarillo?
We went, no, I don't know. Not
Went
me.
to
We went down to California in
California and back.
Ontario,
Yeah.
and we slept out on a construction site, and there's this hill of red ants, and we couldn't tell because we got there at like 12.
Slept on the red ants?
And it was right next to us, and Adam was closer to it, and I was farther away. I got 80 red ant bites.
They were in the same sleeping
And I had
bag.
like blood in my urine and all this stuff. It was nasty.
He was really sick.
I was way sick, and I had to take all this stuff. And the way back, man, Adam didn't have nothing. Way back, that's the worst 48. I mean, what? We were probably there for like 14 hours on the way back. That's the worst 14 hours of my life.
Lucky they weren't fire ants, or they probably killed you. They have fire ants down there? I had scars on me from fire ants. I had a scar right there. A fire ant bite. I have one. I have one right there.
Where?
But there's a bite. That's like a couple weeks old. There's a scar right there from one of them.
Well, did they fly or what?
Like, no, they
You just happened to get them on.
just have to get them on you. Yeah, that and chiggers. You get chiggers on you too. But they just get on you, and they're like, they're from South America, and they got on some freight somehow and started
Colonized.
colonizing up here and they're taking over everything. And the government had it confined to a certain county by poison. But right when they're trying to get them where they're going to kill them, all of them, the Anahuac or
Or I don't see it.
people said, "You can't do it anymore." And so what happened? The only thing that fights them off is the other ants. And so they killed all these ants, except for in this one area. So then they multiplied and they grew, and like they'd be cows out in the fields, and they'd kill a cow. These ants would, until the cows got smart, stayed away from them. They do just mass destruction up there. They're bad news. You get in the, they hurt so bad, and they bite you, man. It's like, and like it swells up, and you gotta.
Sounds more like a beast.
You gotta break it. You gotta break it, get the poison out of it. One night I got 3 of them on my leg, like right here. And, I think it was fire ants. All the war members said it was a brown recluse.
Fire.
Yeah, those things like would kill you if you get bit by them. So I don't think that's what it was. It could have been. Could have been protected, but I think it was 3 of them or 2 of them right close to each other. And my leg swelled up into a knot, and I couldn't really bend my leg. It hurt like heck. And I went over to the member's house, see if they had any like Benadryl or anything to put on it. And they called the doctor as soon as they saw it. I said he'd been bit by a brown recluse. The doctor wanted me to come in there in the morning, but woke up in the morning, the swelling had all gone down. I popped through the thing, just like the fire ants. I think it was just fire ant bites. And it was okay.
You had maybe a little reaction to it.
Yeah, like too much poison in one spot or something.
Red ants, dude, they itch worse than mosquito bites, dude.
Fire ants, I've had red ant bites and fire ants feel red ants. Although red ants are the only thing that stops it. Like if you had red ants, you won't have fire ants anywhere.
You know that pink stuff though?
Fire ants are really small little things and that's jack you up.
You know that pink stuff you rub on your body for mosquito
Yeah,
bites?
Benadryl.
Benadryl? Kinda. It's not that's not what we got. Caladriel? Calamine, yeah.
Calamine.
Yeah,
We stopped and we got a bottle of that, and I was pink, and it wouldn't stop itching. I was like, what the heck? I was like,
Was they itching?
yeah.
See, fire ants
His
don't
bites
itch.
were. His bites were.
Fire ants don't itch, they just hurt. It stings.
Well, can the fire ants spread to this colder
Well, they
climate?
can.
What about red ants?
Can they live in this colder climate?
I don't think so.
They might be confined to down there where it's
Down
hot.
south,
It was really hot and itchy.
Were you there when it was really hot? The record hot streak?
yeah, it was hot for a long time. It was so hot.
According to the paper, people were dying from the heat.
Yeah, and in Fort Worth, people were dying from it.
And
It's because-
now you're having the opposite. Now they're having, in Texas, they're having big floods now.
Yeah, the floods are down south, more south of where all the drought was and everything. But it's because they got all these poor people, right? And they don't have any air conditioning. They got these old people in their house. We never turn their air conditioning off, so they just sit there and they cook themselves to death. We had no lady sister
Well,
West.
even in real hot weather, you can stand it if you drink a lot of water.
Yeah,
If you just force yourself to drink a lot of water.
they don't drink
stay
water.
still.
No one drinks water down there. All they drink is Dr. Pepper. No one drinks. Water's nasty. No one wants to drink it.
How about you? How about missionaries? They have a filtering thing for you?
No, just I drink it because I got used to it. The water's just not good. I drink a lot of Dr. Pepper and
I'm addicted to Dr.
I drink a lot of Dr. I used to drink tons of Dr. Pepper.
every day.
you gotta
Yeah.
get some Dublin Dr. Pepper, man. It's so good. Use pure cane sugar in there. Ooh. Awesome.
I used to drink on scout camp. I drank like 30 to 40 Dr. Peppers in 1 week. And now that after I drink the Dr. Pepper, my stomach kills like heck. So I just take like 6 of it. I can't stand to drink a whole pop. Unless it's Sprite or something.
He's a
Yeah,
It's better that way. It's not very healthy.
So did you see several people come into the church?
Talk about it.
What did they think like when the president announced the temple that
What were you saying when you had to go back to baptize someone
What?
in the
Oh
airport?
yeah, I have a baptism that's gonna be next month sometime. I gotta get back down there for it. But I don't know, get down there. But
Sure.
everybody that all our areas were in the Dallas, Tennessee district. Nothing would have been included down there, so no. I thought it was kind of neat they were getting one down there, but no one really talked about it. Didn't care. I think people.
Were the roads all like twisty, turny, like hard to follow and stuff?
No, they were hard to follow. They're just bad.
Cause that's what Bryce said in Dallas.
There's really bad roads.
Bryce said they were pretty good roads, but like they're all mixed up and stuff. It's hard to find where you're going.
I didn't have any problem finding where I was going. where I was at. Everything was, I had a Maps-Go or a map or something. And all you do is look at the map and you can tell where you're at. Just have a navigator, your companion, your navigator, and just tell me where you're going. And I didn't get lost very often. And like when you have those little towns with those
You have a
little
lot of,
county roads, I've actually been out there once or twice. You know where you're at.
You have a lot of non-American companions.
Only had one, an MTC companion, non-American. He was Samoan.
Jaren had a lot of
Non-American. Non-Mormons.
Because he went to Mexico.
He said in Mexico that they don't like the fact Americans that United States citizens referred to as Americans. Hey, we're in America too. Mexico's part of America.
I bet you. Hey, Dad, I bet you I could hook the Super Nintendo up to this
Why?
to play.
You got a Super Nintendo?
Right there.
Yeah, how come we're not playing it?
Cause it's
We
not
have
hooked up to the
17 games
TV.
too.
Let's look it up, man.
Okay.
Oh,
Do
yeah,
it.
I never played Nintendo illegally forever.
Johnny just woke up.
Yes or no? How was your drive last night?
It was good.
Let me turn it off while you talk.
Tiring. It was long.
Yeah. What time you guys leave last night?
9 o'clock.
What time did you get here?
2 o'clock.
Oh. I'm shaky.
Oh, you have reached Tomanina Jensen's.
He's probably sleeping in. All he can.
She like to wear them?
I have a bag of clothes I want to be so I don't keep it here. I might go keep it because I don't want you to leave it to the eye.
Oh, that's okay. I can take this stuff to the Here, closer.
What?
Hello, Kevin.
Bring him to me, I want to see him.
How you doing?
Can you see those? Can you see that?
How'd you like the drive last night?
It's a little blurry. I mean, it's not clear.
Boring?
Okay, homie.
How'd you sleep
I
last
just want
night?
to see him close up.
Did I wake you up when I went in your room?
It's cute.
Did you come in our room this morning?
It's like salt
For
and
what?
pepper shakers. It
For
is,
Ben's
it's salt
clothes, he
and
didn't
pepper
want to
shakers.
wake you up, so he told me to go get it.
Yeah, one has S and one has P on it.
Nope. Didn't hear you.
It's a cute idea.
I heard you say something when
For
I
each
left.
season of the year, change your salt and
What's
pepper
that? What did I
shaker.
say?
Oh, you're like,
Get out before I kill
Pilgrims
you.
and
you're like,
Do it now.
stupid kids keep coming in here or something like that.
Stupid kids. That's probably something I said.
Get out of the way, Steph.
Oh,
Lily is so sweet. Look what she did.
here she is.
Uh-oh.
Your mom. Hello. Oh, good. You got home.
Halloween, trick or
You
treat.
okay? Okay. What's your mom's? Did your
Hi,
mom see your
Stephanie.
ankle?
Who did all this stuff?
Me.
Okay.
You?
Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Little old you?
Yeah.
Hi, honey.
Did you get it on the other part, Emily?
What other
Did
part?
you rewind it?
Yeah.
Thank
Do you want to come film now, Keith?
I want to.
What's wrong with your hands?
I want to.
How can you?
It's
I said we
plugged.
get pops and go down to the church and play some ball.
It's plugged. It's on.
I know. Stop it, Seth.